What's up guys, welcome back to this series. We are now on, what is it? Week 5, is it? I'll have to confirm that in like a little text box up here or something. It'll either confirm I'm correct or confirm that I'm wrong, either way. As you can see from the lighting conditions, if you're somebody who picks up on these kind of things, which I am, which is why I'm pointing it out, we're a fair bit later on in the day recording the video, purely and simply just because, not necessarily that I forgot to do it, but just because it got to later on in the day, had stuff to do, so on and so forth. And it's been a miserable day today anyway. I probably would have had the light on. All of that aside, you've not come here to hear about what the weather conditions were like, nor the lighting conditions in the room. That's just me talking out my backside. No, instead, we're going to be talking about what it is that I have done today as part of my student-teacher experience. So, first thing that we covered off was British values. So, this proved to be a little bit of a bone of contention for some of us. Not so much in the principles behind it. So the ideas of democracy, rule of law, individual liberty, so on and so forth. Everyone was for that, but more in coining the term British values. So I think the issue we had was, are these values fundamentally just British, or are they human values? Are they essentially the kind of thing that you should be doing in order to be respectful to others and to live a decent life? Which is certainly something that we'll have to consider going forward when ideas of Britishness are challenged and we look at how do we implement these. Speaking of implementing them, we were given a task where we were asked to essentially plan a little session or exercise that would help demonstrate each of these principles. So, for myself, as I'm specialising in media, I decided to go down the film studies route. To encourage democracy, I would be showing 2 clips of 2 completely different films to the class, asking them to vote on which one they preferred, which one they liked best, which would then open the floor for discussion later on. The discussion itself would hopefully lead to people having completely different views on what's good and what's bad about the films, and then being able to discuss it. And not only to learn to take on someone else's view, but to then modify their own view with the new information that they have. Myself, for instance, I can't stand Michael Bay films. They're all explosion and no plot. But there are many people who quite like that style of film, particularly if they're looking for something to wind down with, something they don't have to think too much about, and the whole kind of like bombast and everything. Arguably, he's probably one of the best directors of doing that. But like I say, I personally think most of it is trash, but that's beside the point. But yeah, so even within myself, there's the contentions there. I've learned to accept that there are people who like what he does and the way that he does things, but I haven't had to give up my own personal views in order to do that. That's hopefully something that that particular exercise will help people come to terms with. So as I say, that for me covers off a few of the different points. Moving on to the next section, we have a little look at vulnerable students. It was broken down into categories for us, what we class as vulnerable students. So we're looking at those with SEND, so special educational needs and disabilities. We're looking at kids from like a poverty-stricken background. The ones who haven't maybe had the same opportunities as everyone numbers, so on and so forth. There is a full list online, you can look it up. Again, we talked a little bit about that. It was mainly linked to what we had already learned about safeguarding and prevent, to which point we also looked at two cases, one of far right extremism and one of they're basically both forms of extremism, but from two very different sides of the coin. So one was the murder of Joe Cox, and the other, which actually happened in a couple of weeks of that, was the murdering of around 50 people in Orlando by a single gunman who decided to kill them because they were gay. So it was interesting. We were asked to kind of compare the two, like what was the same about them. We were sort of able to research a little bit of kind of like backstory behind each of them as well, to kind of make judgments based on that. And a lot of it seemed to be that for a lot of these guys, there are warning signs for years and years and years, and while some of it's premeditated, it's normally just right, I'm doing it now sort of thing. There's not always a lot of planning and thought that goes into what they're doing, at least not in the way that we would expect. So that was really interesting to look into. So I'm gonna, before I ramble on any further, I'm gonna cut things off there for now, and we will return for the second part of this week tomorrow, when we will be looking at preparing for a micro teach. So exciting times. Okay then guys, so another pretty miserable day, hence lighting, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so moving on to what we actually did. I'm just going to refer back to my notes here for a second so that I know that I'm getting this right. So we started the day learning about a program called Box Broadcast, which is kind of like a streaming service that, once subscribed to, allows you to create clips for use for like educational purposes in like videos for your lessons, all that kind of thing. Which, as you can imagine, what I am intending to do would be quite handy. Unfortunately, it wasn't working, so we're going to have to come back to that. So we'll tear that off, stick it on the wall, and come back for it later. Next thing we talked about was lesson planning. Planning, as you can tell, is one of my strong suits from the fact that I have to keep on referring back to my notes. But yeah, so we've done a reading as homework last week that was all about planning, the importance of it, the different aspects therein. Talked a little bit yesterday, so earlier on in this video, about prospective plans that we've done, and we looked at it in a bit more depth today. So that planning session actually went on a little bit longer. We split off into separate groups to like assess different planning strategies. Look over what we would include in a 2-hour lesson. We also evaluated the teaching in a clip from the film School of Rock, which on paper seemed like a good choice. In practice, maybe not so much. But it did at least show us there were a few things that were done right, but most of it, no. Even though that is kind of the point of the film, but yeah, anyway. So the next thing that we moved on to was a few details about our micro-teach. We are going to be coming back to planning, but a lot of that is going to be done in sessions prior to next week. The micro-teach is going to be done as a paired activity, and between us we'll come up with a 20 minutes or so lesson, which then gives 10 minutes for a critique and for feedback of a topic of our choosing. So I have been paired with someone who did a film and TV production course at the same uni I went to, so that's quite handy. So we've discussed a few things so far about what we may potentially do. I have just had a message on my phone that'll teach me to keep my phone not on Do Not Disturb when I'm doing these. Naughty. So yeah, we've talked through a few ideas. It's something that's going to need to be developed over the next few weeks, including the reading week that is coming up, not next week but the week after that. So it's in that reading week that there will likely not be a video, although I may just drop a small video with a few thoughts on how the microteach is going and so on and so forth. So that about wraps it up for this week. My first assignment is due on Friday by 11:59 PM. I'm going to spend most of Thursday, so by the time this comes out, it'll be yesterday's. I will have spent most of that day doing the essay and basically planning it off. I'm hoping to get it out of the way by the end of tomorrow so I can just submit it and then not have to worry about it on Friday. But I might need to do a few finishing touches for them. And then it's just easy weekend from there, I suppose. Maybe put a few resources together ready for the microteach. So, as always, if you've been enjoying this series, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button, as all the other YouTubers seem to say, if you want to be notified when these new videos come up. If your memory is good enough, they're every Friday. Simple enough. Usually in the morning, but it depends on when I've been able to edit them. I generally tend to edit them on a Thursday night to be uploaded on Friday morning. So yeah, just keep an eye out then. If you've enjoyed this video, please also do leave a like on the video, that would be very much appreciated. Any comments as well are also appreciated. As I've mentioned before, if there's anything that you want me to look into in particular, anything you'd like to talk about, please do let me know. Otherwise though, look after yourselves, take care, and I will see you next time.